Hey there, guys. I'm here with my Backlash France review and ratings. And first off, I just want to say this French crowd might be the greatest crowd in professional wrestling history. I'm not stretching it. I'm not giving recency bias. I'm being dead serious. Any little chop, any little move that happens, they make it seem like history was made in the ring off of just a basic chop. They really made these matches look like gold. And if I'm being honest, most every match on this card was kind of just an average match. There wasn't any match of the year contenders here is basically what I'm saying. There was nothing horrible at all. There was nothing bad. It was all just kind of good. And that's it. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. But the crowd was amazing. Very, very happy with this crowd. I mean, they could sing anybody's song. Very, very good crowd. Let's get into these matches. First up, you got probably the most hyped up match. So they're starting off strong. You have Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And there's a lot of very, very good talent in this ring. You got the veteran talent and you've got the rising stars. And from an in-ring standpoint, this match was pretty decent. In the beginning, it was supposed to just be a regular tag match, and then, of course, chaos happens as expected. So Nick Aldis comes out, and he makes it a street fight. And so then I'm like, oh, Jacob Fatu is definitely coming to the WWE now. That, in my opinion, is the best Samoan left to sign. So that was just who I was sticking with. Never in my mind did any other Samoan that could potentially get involved cross my mind. And then all of a sudden, at the end, somebody pulls out the referee. It's a bigger guy. I'm sitting here thinking it's Jacob Fatu. He turns his face, and it's Tonga Loa, which I don't have a problem with it by any means, but I was just so surprised. I didn't expect him to make any kind of debut into the WWE, which actually it's a return to the WWE. Supposedly he was in the WWE before as Chambocho or something like that. I know I just screwed that up just right when I said it. But yeah, when Tonga Loa got involved, we knew Solo and Tama Tonga were going to get the win, and we were right. Solo Sikoa ended it with a Samoan spike. 1, 2, 3. There's your winners. So I'm very excited for this Bloodline storyline. I think Jacob Fatu is going to somehow get involved, and potentially a Zilla Fatu or somebody else. This family is huge. The match itself, I guess I would give the match a B, but I'm going to just put all of it together. The return, the return of Tonga Loa and everything, I'm going to give it an A-. Next up, we have for the WWE Women's Championship. This, of course, is the current champion, Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy time versus Naomi. And I feel like the build-up for this match has actually been pretty decent. I've just been excited to see Tiffany Stratton get some nice opportunities. She is the future of the women's division. This would be the women's superstar who I would want to carry my company for the rest of these next, 10 years or whatever. And of course, she can go longer than 10 years. But I'm just kind of saying that's when her prime's going to be. And she has plenty of time left in her career. Time is not holding her back. What did she start, 3 years ago now? So she's just so amazing in the ring considering her lack of experience. And we already know she can be a great champion. We saw that in NXT. She was one of the better NXT women's champions of recent time. And so she just didn't need this. She's got plenty of time ahead of her to have different title reigns. I want Bayley to have a nice reign. I want her to shine on the top and get what she deserves. So yeah, never in my mind did I ever think Bayley would lose the belt. She literally just won it at WrestleMania. It would make no sense for her to lose it now. And I just really don't see Naomi winning another women's world title ever again in her career, in my opinion. And that's not a knock to Naomi at all. She's a phenomenal talent. It's just not something I personally see. So yeah, I'm very excited for this title reign. I hope it goes on for a while. I really like WWE's new kind of norm, I guess you can say, for title reigns to be long. And I just think it adds meaning to the titles. Of course, it has its negatives. If people hold the title long, that means less people are going to get opportunities to hold the title. But I just like long title reigns. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people can disagree. So yeah, Bayley got the win, but Tiffany, it's going to be Tiffy time soon. She's going to get her big shining moment where she gets to hold a women's world title. Next up was the match for the women's tag team championships, and this was really the only match that I was kind of 50-50 on my booking. I feel like most all of the other matches were very, very predictable, which that's not a bad thing, really. I mean, we just passed WrestleMania. Changes are supposed to be made at WrestleMania, not at Backlash. So I completely understand why we're not going to be having changing titles. I mean, I guess the Tama Tonga solo match was kind of not predictable, but I still thought that would happen. Well, of course, not the return / debut. I didn't expect that to happen, but I expected the outcome, like who won. I was correct on that. But yeah, I actually thought the Kabuki Warriors would take the win. And there was two things that they could go with this. We know eventually we're going to get Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. I don't know if it's going to be at next year's WrestleMania or if it's going to be at this year's SummerSlam. But we're getting it. That's just how it is. We're going to get it. And so there was kind of two scenarios that were playing out in my head. Either they lost this match and one of them got mad because they lost the match and they turned on each other, or Jade and Bianca take the win, then eventually they lose the titles, to which it creates conflicts within their team, and then that's how we build up to the match. So either way, either outcome, we were going to get Jade Cargill versus Bianca. And they went with the second option, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair got the win. And I don't know if I'm saying this wrong. Is it Jade Cargill or is it Jade Cargill? I just think Cargill sounds better in my opinion. But back to the topic, I do think I know why they chose what they did. I think it's because they wanted Jade to hold a title. No matter what title it is, no matter how prestigious it is, because we know the women's tag team titles, in my opinion, don't mean a lot right now. Not prestigious at all, but I think they just wanted to get a title on her. But yeah, this was a pretty decent match. It definitely wasn't anything special. I didn't really see it being a 5-star match or anything like that. I don't know why. It just seems like the women's tag team matches are never good in-ring matches for some reason. I don't know. I just feel like we've never seen a very good match for these titles. I mean, and this is not a knock to Jade Cargill at all. She's a phenomenal talent, but we haven't really ever seen a very, very good match for her anyway. Even in AEW, she's just a very dominant person. And it gets the job done. In today's modern wrestling, you don't have to be an amazing in-ring professional wrestler to be over. That's just how it is. But yeah, I'm going to give it a B-. It wasn't bad by any means, but it definitely wasn't very good. Next up, we had for the Men's World Heavyweight Championship. This is, of course, between the current champion, Damian Priest, and main event, Jey Uso. In this match, they kind of stirred the pot with some heat in the Judgment Day. At the end of the match, I'll go ahead and say Damian Priest got the win. He beat Jey Uso. Never in my mind did I ever think Jey Uso would get the win. I love Jey Uso. He's a phenomenal talent. I've always loved the Usos, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. But I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what his name goes by, main event Jey Uso. I don't see neither Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso ever holding a world title. I just don't see him as world title guys. I don't feel like they can carry a company like WWE on their back. And they're both very, very talented and amazing professional wrestlers. I just don't see that. They can hold good storylines. They have good in-ring talent. They just I don't think they have that main event aura to them. I know what I said doesn't seem very oozy, but I'm just saying. But yeah, back to the end of the match, Damian Priest gets the win, and we've seen in a few of his other matches, he gets mad when JD McDonough and anybody in the Judgment Day comes out to help him. He wants to win fair and square. So it's kind of showing that maybe Damian Priest could turn face, and he kind of showed that again in this match. At the end of the match, he was pushing on Finn Balor and pushing on JD McDonough. He literally threw JD McDonough out of the way. It was kind of funny. But yeah, I feel like we're going to get a face turn by Damian Priest and maybe get like a Finn Balor versus Damian Priest type feud. where Damian Priest is defending himself against all of Judgment Day. I think it would be kind of cool. And it's definitely possible. I feel like it's very, very possible for this to happen. But overall, the match itself was decent. I'm just going to say decent. We've said that a lot tonight. It's not very good, but it's not very bad. It's in the middle. Just overall, the matches were mid, but this French crowd made it seem like gold. So yeah, I thought it was kind of decent. I'm going to give it a B. I think the end and all the drama they added with the Judgment Day really boosted this rating. Next up is for the Undisputed Championship. Of course, the current champion Cody Rhodes taking on the phenomenal one AJ Styles. So the crowd was electric, definitely for Cody Rhodes' entrance. I mean, they sung his song even after the music was off. They knew every single word to it. And another thing, now that we're talking about entrances, I do kind of want to point out AJ Styles' new theme song is just, it's a massive step down from what his last one is. We had the lyrics memorized. If that music hits, we know who it is, and they don't even have to say AJ Styles or anything like that. It was becoming one of those iconic theme songs. It was just very cool. And this one, in my opinion, is just trash. It doesn't compare. But yeah, that has nothing to do with the match. I just kind of wanted to point that out. The match was actually very good. These guys have very good chemistry, as I expected. Another kind of cool thing is Michael Cole pointed out that they were both former Bullet Club leaders. I just thought that was kind of cool. We know usually back in the, what do you want to call it, Vince McMahon era, they weren't allowed to say stuff like that. You had to keep WWE-related talk. And so, just think that's kind of cool. But the match had some nice spots. Overall, I really liked it. I'm going to give it an A-. It's not by any means match of the year contendant, but it was decent. Alright, I'm tired of saying the word decent and saying that it's not very good but not very bad. I'm tired of it because I feel like from an in-ring perspective, that kind of sums up the show. But just that French crowd, it's crazy to think how much the crowd affects because they were so good and they made it seem so good. Even though I feel like if this PLE was to be anywhere else, I feel like it would be getting dogged on a lot. People would be talking crap about it, but everybody's saying it was pretty good. This just shows how important having the crowd behind you is. We figured this out during what I call the COVID era. Whenever there was no crowd in the audience, wrestling seemed horrible. It turned a lot of people away. Heck, I did not want to watch it. And it just wasn't good. And that's why I feel bad for people like Drew McIntyre, who happened to just have their prime years without a crowd. So yeah, it just kind of sucks whenever you don't have a good crowd. But that's the opposite of what happened at Backlash. The crowd was electric, and that's what made the show overall pretty decent show. I think the WWE was very safe with all of their booking decisions, which I completely understand. I mean, we had a lot of title changes at WrestleMania. We can't just keep switching titles every single PLE. So yeah, overall, pretty good PLE. It's getting me excited for the Bloodline storyline. When is Jacob Fatu going to show up? What's Tonga Loa going to do? So yeah, I'm very excited. Getting excited for SummerSlam season, wondering what's going to happen there. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.